Welcome, everyone. Yeah, it sounds like we have a quorum, which is excellent news. Thank you all for attending. Okay, so I'd like to remind the members that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed. Please keep that in mind when making your comments. Also, chat items are part of the public. As we begin the 2023 Section 5310 application process, I would like to thank our committee members for your time, for the evaluation process. Your participation enables us to award these funds to support human service transportation in the region. So we do, again, appreciate your efforts here and your time. Okay, so we're going to go into introductions. And as we continue to meet virtually, a roll call will be conducted for introductions and all the action items. Dee Dee from MAG will now conduct the roll call for us.
Yes, if you can say here when I call your name, I would appreciate it. Nina Arredondo, Penamba County. Nina. Okay. Carolyn Ballard, Town of Florence. I'm hearing a little feedback. If you could mute your microphones, that'd be great. Thank you. Carolyn Ballard, Town of Florence. David Calloway, City of Mesa.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Vice Chair Matt Dudley, City of Avondale.
Here.
Thank you. Joan, I know you're here. If you could put it in the chat, that would be great. Joan Freeman, City of Scottsdale.
The chat is disabled, Didi.
Oh. Okay, but I know she is here. Joe Ladou, City of Surprise.
Here.
I apologize on the last name.
No problem. It's Gladio. You're close.
Gladio. Okay, Gladio. Autumn Groom, City of El Mirage. Autumn. Nancy Jackson, City of Chandler. Nancy. Wendy Miller, City of Phoenix.
Here.
Thank you. We do have Chair Williams from the City of Gilbert. Philip Yabez, City of Buckeye.
Philip Yabez said that he might be a couple of minutes late.
Okay. Robert Yabez, City of Tempe. I did see Robert. Robert, are you here?
Dee Dee,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Still here, sorry.
Okay, because you were the last for quorum. I was just I was just waiting on that.
Okay, that was it. I was just going to mention if participants mute isn't working, they could maybe react to your quorum, but it's good.
Okay, thank you, Mimi. And then we do have Tom Young, who did notify us that he would not be able to attend today. Chair Williams, we do have quorum.
Okay, thank you, Dee Dee. And thank you, everyone. So please remember, before we begin, please remember to mute yourself when you're not speaking and when making a comment to identify yourself when speaking. Okay, let's get on to our first item, which is agenda item number 2, call to the audience. An opportunity was provided to the public to provide written comments to the committee on items that are not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of MAG or on items on the agenda, but not for action. Please note comments received or agenda items posted for action will not or will be read at the time that item is heard. So Dee Dee, do we have any comments from the audience?
Chair Williams, we did not receive any comments.
Okay, sounds good. So let me see. I think we're going to move on to item number 3 then on your agenda, which is approval of the EPDT ad hoc committee November 16th, 2022 meeting minutes. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review the minutes. Are there any changes? Not hearing any immediately there. Dee, have we received any comments from the public on the minutes?
We have not received any comments,
Okay.
Chair.
All right. Thank you. So I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? Or sorry, I need a motion first. I can't make the motion, can I?
This is David Calloway. I'll make the motion.
Perfect. All right. Now do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion from anyone? Hearing none. Dee, would you be able to do the roll call for us? And please respond by yay or nay.
Chair Williams, Nina Arredondo. Carolyn Beller, Town of Florence.
Yay.
David Calloway made the motion. Vice Chair Dudley.
Yay.
Joan Freeman.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. Joe Gladio.
Yay.
Autumn Groom. Nancy Jackson. Wendy Miller.
Yay.
Thank you. Chair Williams.
Yay.
Philip Yapis. And Mr. Robert Yapis made the motion. The motion passes.
Good.
Yay anyway.
What was that, Robert?
I said yay.
All right. Sounds like motion passes. Thanks, Dee. All right, everybody, let's move on to item number 4, our next item. Updates from the MAG sub-regional mobility managers. The sub-regional mobility managers support coordination efforts federally required for receiving Section 5310 funding. They also provide input into the development of coordination activities and offer workshops and training for regional Section 5310 sub-recipients. At our last meeting, we heard project updates from the sub-regional mobility managers. And well, I guess unfortunately, Mark Botterbush from Gompers was unable to attend. We've invited Mark back to provide an update on his projects, and welcome, Mark. Is Mark here? I don't.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thanks. Welcome. Go ahead, Mark, if you'd like.
Thank you, Mark from Gompers. One of our biggest contributions is our trainings that we provide. And we do a training on transporting people with special needs. And it's kind of been evolving. We've been adding topics, subjects. So this year it'll be expanding. The one training will be held on 2 different occasions because we've added that much material to it. The other piece that we're going to add, and the trainer is really excited about it, we're actually going to interview people that we're transporting to get their input on the topics and areas that we're covering in the training, to get a perspective from people actually being transported. So we're really excited to see what that adds to the training. It'll give some real life experiences from people actually being transported. So we're really excited about that addition. The other change is I was promoted within the agency. So I'll be transitioning out of the mobility manager and handing that responsibility over to Travis Harris, who is our special education director, who is actually in the meeting and is going to jump on, kind of introduce himself and talk about what he kind of sees for the position for himself.
Thank you, Mark. Hold on, let me readjust
Morning. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Travis Harris. I've been at Gompers for about just over 6 years. Kind of new to the mobility side of it. I am kind of a backup driver for the school. So whenever one of our drivers calls out, I do the routes for the students that Gompers transports for our private school. Kind of my big thing would just be looking forward to making sure people are aware of what is necessary, you know, to safely transport the students. And well, I'm going to say students, that's just kind of my background language, but obviously that also includes adults. One of my big things is just making sure that the person being transported has options to communicate, that the people that are responsible for transporting are asking permission to touch the students or person's wheelchair. If you're getting something out of their bag, you know, asking permission before doing it, making sure that the ride is safe. And I'll just kind of sit back and listen to the rest of this and learn as I go.
I'm going to jump back in. We have been, since I've been in this role, using multiple people in our agency, like Travis is a resource, our trainer is a resource, our facilities person, and we'll continue with that. If we have a question from the community, it doesn't have to just be Travis. It'll be anyone in the agency who might be able to address that question or support that person. So we will continue that. So really, as far as Gompers is concerned, it's anyone in the agency that might be able to support a person needing our assistance.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Travis. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
And welcome, Travis. Looking forward to working with you. And thanks for your insight there as well. So welcome. Okay, so that was Gompers, and this item was for information and discussion only. And are there any questions or comments from the committee at this time? Okay, hearing none. We appreciate your time. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you soon here in a few months.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to item number 5 on our agenda, which is the review of FY23 Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Program application process. So March is right around the corner. This is for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. And I would like again to thank you all and all the new incoming members and our continuing members for your time for this through this application process as we begin it here. I would now like to invite Dee Dee to provide an overview of the 2023 Section 5310 application process and timeline, and she will also provide an update on the committee comments or points of consideration from our last meeting. So take it away, Dee Dee.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. We appreciate your time for this evaluation process, and we are happy to say that we are kicking off the 2023 Section 5310 application process for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. Next slide, please. So we do have some new committee members, and to just review for those that have been here for quite a while, and we greatly appreciate your time. I just want to provide just a brief overview of the application of the Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities. This is a federal works program. It is a competitive program. It is eligible for private nonprofit organizations and public agency where no viable nonprofit organization is available. Also open to tribal governments. The population that we are dealing with for this program are agencies serving older adults age 65 and older, and those serving persons with disabilities. Our funding is apportioned to the state, and we receive an apportionment for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area, and not less than 55% of that funding is required to go to funding traditional capital projects, which are vehicles, mobility management, preventive maintenance and those items. 45% to other capital and operations, less than 10% for administration. Next slide. The committee is tasked with doing the evaluation process for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. And this map highlights the area which is in blue. All of the other shaded areas, which is the sandy, this Arizona Department of Transportation, ADOT, will coordinate and program the Section 5310 for those agencies. For our task here today, we will be concentrating on those agencies that provide 51% of their services in the blue area. This year, ADOT was on a every other schedule for their Section 5310 application process. And this year, ADOT will be conducting opening up the competitive application process for traditional capital and operating. I don't have information on when they will kick that off, but I will provide that to you. But this is their on year that they will open up their Section 5310 application process. Next slide. Just a couple of updates to the program. This again was signed into law under the Bills Act in November 2021. And it is I forgot what the longer term, the name of it is, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Section 5310 continues under this bill. There were no formal changes to the program, but we did see, this did give us 5 dedicated years of funding. In the first year of this program in 2022, we did see a 30% increase in our funding from the previous year. We jumped from funding in 2021 from 3.5 to 5.1, which is quite a bit a jump. Our current boundary area map was developed under the 2010 census. They did conduct another census in 2022. And at the last meeting, we did invite Scott Wilkins to offer an update on anticipated changes from the 2020 census. He noted that there would be an elimination between urbanized areas and the urbanized clusters, and it will not just be considered an urbanized area. Also, under this, there are some new guidelines that process will now use housing units per square mile, and the anticipated changes to our boundary area would be the inclusion of the Avondale Goodyear area, possibly Buckeye and Wickenburg.
Dee
Yes.
So I just got news from MAG yesterday that the Avondale, Goodyear, and Phoenix West UZA will continue. Yeah, it's
Thank you for that update.
Yeah, I just heard it yesterday, so I don't know how that'll impact this, but it's my understanding that the boundary map should be available later this month. So I don't know how this will impact all of this, especially with ADOT too.
Definitely. Thank you for that update, Vice Chair Dudley. I haven't heard of that, but we do anticipate some changes in movement. We had hoped, as Wendy had mentioned last year, that it not only will, with the changes to the revision of our boundary, we also hope to see some revisions to the apportionment for the area. And while we see an increase in our service area, we hope to see an increase in the apportionment for our area. So thank you. The changes are anticipated to take effect for the 24 process. So we still have some time to, I know it takes some time to, last year they smoothed the boundary and get approval of the mapping changes, and then to start putting the changes into effect, but this will take place for the 2024 application process. So we will have some additional updates. So thank you. Next slide. Funding. Of the apportionments that we will be receiving, not less than 55% of the funding are to go to traditional capital requests. And again, those are vehicles, preventive maintenance, other requests, 45% to other capital and operating, less than 10% administrative fee. And for our process, we had elected to go to 60% for traditional capital, just so that we can ensure that we make that 55 requirement. And that is, that gives us some leeway to work with. 80% of the federal share. This is the federal share is for matching. 80% is 80-20 for traditional capital, and a 50-50% for other capital and operating projects. And the federal share for accessible equipment is a 90-10. And then we will provide additional information. Wendy, would you like to add?
I just wanted to point out briefly that the federal share can be up to 85% for the traditional capital projects, like the vehicle match can be up to 85% for ADA vehicles.
Thank you, Wendy. Next slide, please. As I noted, we are estimating funding at $5.3 million for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. The EPD ad hoc committee serves as the technical committee to develop the priority listing of projects for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area. Once the priority listing is developed, it will be forwarded to the city of Phoenix to develop the consolidated application that will be submitted to FTA when final apportionments are released. Next slide. And I did see, I thought I saw a comment from Matt. Oh, sorry for that interrupt. I thought I saw a comment. Overview for the process is for our process is traditional capital request parameters of limiting to 5 vehicles, mobility management positions at $45,000. They're operating utilizing the 125 increment based on school order. We did say there would be a 2-year waiting period for applicants to return a vehicle back into the program in order to apply for a vehicle. And the applicants must score 70% or 70 points during the evaluation process to move forward to the awarding process. Next slide. The committee had made some recommendations at the previous meeting that the EPT committee will continue with meeting virtually and that all applicant interviews will be done virtually. Matt, and we also added in due to some concerns that Max during the 2-week internal review process, Phoenix staff will review the balance of unexpended grant funds and the standing of Section 53 programs during the 2-week internal process. And so when we received the application process, MAG and the City of Phoenix, we conduct a 2-week internal review process to ensure that all of the applications are eligible, that they meet federal requirements and regional thresholds. During this 2-week process, Phoenix will also review unspent grant fundings from previous grants for those applicants. And they will provide that information when we meet back in March, when you receive all the eligible applications, and they will provide their findings of that 2-week internal review process. Has FTA recommended those applicants with unexpended funding expenditure that are not spent down will not be recommended to move forward. Wendy, I don't know if you wanted to add any other comments to that.
Thank you, Dee Dee. No, you did a great job unless anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you. And also, just to give you an update on going into the next application process. At this time, Wendy have provided a great update on vehicle procurement. We did find out going into the next process that we will not be able to have available hazard vehicle option, the passenger vehicle or the minivan with no ramp. So those two vehicles will not be available going into the application process. Are there any questions on that? Okay, there were two other items that were brought up for under the items for consideration from the committee. And one was a comment on preventive maintenance. The committee had noted that some of the preventive maintenance had a disparity in funding request, and they asked MAC staff to take a look into that. I just wanted to provide you an update. We did meet with our mobility managers and we brought up the preventive maintenance. We worked with mobility managers, and thank you, City of Phoenix staff, for providing guidance too. And we developed a summary sheet of best practices to provide support for preventive maintenance request. We are also going to request that any agency that are considering applying for preventive maintenance to meet with one of our mobility managers and just to get some feedback for them. Also, the other item was that the committee had noticed that there were two agencies that did a really good job on their applicant interview, and they asked MAC staff to reach out to that agency. We did reach out. We are going to reach out to the agency. We did meet with the mobility managers, and during their peer workshop, Section 5310 workshop, we'll invite that one agency to get some tips on how to conduct applicant interviews. So I just wanted to provide that update that we have moved forward on those two items that the committee had requested we look into. Okay, next slide. All of these changes are mostly internal. We have not made any changes to the selection criteria. It is still the same. I will provide some additional information once we meet again in March and we provide the evaluation training. But I just wanted to mention that we have not made any revisions to the rubric. Next slide. I will now go over the tentative timeline. It says there are not any formula changes to the program or any legislative changes. We are keeping the same format as we did last year. So the application timeline process, which we've done today, hopefully, is taking place today. We will send out a notice of available funding and release the application on Monday, January the 23rd. Phoenix staff and MAG, which is Wendy and I, will host a proposal workshop on Tuesday, January the 31st, which will be virtual. Also, Wendy and I will host a applicant technical assistance on Tuesday and Wednesday on February 7th and 8th. And it will be required for new applicants as recommended by the committee. This is a one-on-one with potential applicants. We provide a half-hour technical support to review their applications, to answer any questions to agencies that would like to request a one-on-one with the City of Phoenix and MAC staff. Also, what Billy Parker, our Deputy Mobility Manager, has started is a question and answer workshop. And this is more of a peer kind of one-on-one dialogue with applicants. Billy hosts it. We do have our mobility managers also attending. This is an opportunity, a third opportunity for our potential applicants to get support for the application and to ask the mobility managers some questions. Definitely during this time, we as a case, I will attend this meeting just to kind of get an idea of what applications are going to be requested, so that that will enable us to help offer additional support to those applicants. Our application deadline will be on Monday, February the 27th, which gives them about 4 weeks to do their applications. And again, late applications will not be accepted. Next slide. As I noted before, MAC staff and Phoenix, Wendy and I will do the 2-week internal review of the applications during this time. And Wendy and I usually confer and meet regarding our results of that before we bring it to the committee. The committee will next meet again on March 15th, Wednesday, again virtually. And at this time, we will provide all of the eligible application. We will provide an update on our internal review for the committee's consideration, and we will provide all of the eligible applications to the committee at this time for the review process. I will provide a more thorough overview of the evaluation process at this time for the committee. So I know there were some comments regarding the unspent funding and any application that might not move forward, but it is during this time that Phoenix will do a thorough review and bring their recommendations. So on Wednesday, March 15th, we will provide to the committee all of the all applications that are eligible to move forward. Are there any questions on that? Okay. So for the committee's internal process, and again, I will review this at the March 15th meeting, the committee has an opportunity to ask questions regarding the application only to the applicants. So the committee can submit their questions to MAC staff by April 10th. We will forward those committee questions, consolidated questions, to the applicants, and the committee will receive those responses on April 17th. We are asking the committee to provide their initial evaluation scores to MAC staff by Thursday, April 20th. And then on April 25th and 26th, we will hold the 2-day applicant interview process. On the second day, the committee will develop the priority listing based on the final evaluation score points. And this is a quick summary of the evaluation timeline and process. It does follow the same timeline as last year. And we're grateful that I know some of the committee members do attend the ASTA conference, so this does avoid that timeline of the ASTA spring conference. Are there any questions on the timeline? Okay, next slide. Once the priority listing has been developed, and again, that is by the EPD committee, it has a technical committee, it will move forward to the Human Services Committee for recommendation of approval, the MAG Management Committee for recommendation of approval, and to the MAG Regional Council, which will be in June. So it moves forward through the committee process in May, and then to MAG Regional Council for final approval, for recommendation to move forward to the City of Phoenix to submit on our behalf in June. Next slide. That is a review of the timeline. Again, it's the same as last year. This item is for committee action for approval of the timeline for the Phoenix-Mesa urbanized area for the 2023 Section 5310 application process. That concludes my presentation, and I am open to any questions. Chair Williams.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Any questions for Dee Dee on the process from anyone? Really good. No questions, Dee Dee. Great job. A lot of info there, we know. Okay, so as Dee Dee mentioned, this item is for action. Do I have a motion for approval of the FY23 Section 5310 application process and timeline for the Phoenix-Mesa EZA?
So moved, Robert Yabes.
David Callaway, I'll second.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Any discussion from anyone? Hearing none. Dee Dee, will you conduct a roll call, please?
Nina Arredondo, Pinal County. Carolyn Ballard.
Yay.
David Callaway seconded. Vice Chair Matt Williams. Vice Chair Matt Dudley.
Aye.
My apologies. Thank you. Joan Freeman.
Yay.
Thank you. Joe Gladio.
Yay.
Thank you. Adam Gurham. Nancy Jackson. Wendy Miller.
Yay.
Thank you. Chair Williams.
Yay.
Thank you. Philip Yabes.
Yay.
Thank you. And Robert Yabes made the motion. It is unanimous.
Excellent. The motion passes. Okay, so let's move on to item number 6, which is requests for future agenda items. Are there any other requested topics or issues of interest to consider for future agendas? Also, topics and issues can be requested for future agendas, but not discussed at this time. But I'm not hearing any at this time. I think everybody's just getting ready for the application process. Okay, not hearing any there. We will move on to item number 7, which is comments from the committee. This is for information only. Does anyone have any announcements they would like to make or other comments? Okay. Thought Matt might want to talk about his presentation he did yesterday, but I guess not, and where we can access that. But maybe not. All right, now we can move on to adjournment, which is our last item. And before we adjourn, I would like to thank you all once again for your time for this important program as we head into the 2023 application process. And this meeting is adjourned. Thanks for your time.